European teams dominated the 2018 FIFA World Cup. For the first time in its existence, all 4 semi-finalists came from UEFA. The likes of Argentina and Brazil fell by the wayside as Belgium, Croatia, England and France battled it out amongst each other. All of this happened with traditional powerhouse Italy failing to qualify for the tournament and Germany being a shadow of their former selves. France were eventually crowned champions, Hugo Lloris in goal, Raphael Varane in defence, Paul Pogba in midfield and Kylian Mbappe leading the lines. Put these 4 in any squad and it's bound to challenge for honours. And this squad was ably supplemented by the likes of Antoine Griezmann, Olivier Giroud, Kante, Blaise Matuidi, Samuel Umtiti, Lucas Hernandez and Alphonse Areola amongst others. Les Bleus hit their stride at just the right time. It was enough to get rid of Croatia's challenge, the dark horses who had defeated FIFA #1 ranked Belgium to book their place. In the background of all this, Gareth Southgate's enterprising 3 Lions can be overlooked, but will be remiss if they're not mentioned for their entertainment value. All 4 of the 2018 World Cup semi-finalists qualified for the 2020 European Championships. The coronavirus pandemic dented UEFA's plans and the gathering of European powerhouses was postponed indefinitely. International tournaments had to take a back seat for domestic and continental club competitions. Even the Champions League and Europa League had their home and away fixtures scrapped for one-off knockout matches. For the 2020-21 season, international commitments are back on track alongside club competitions. The Bundesliga took the initiative in returning to normalcy in May, but the Premier League took the onus for the current campaign. In the international arena, we've just completed the Nations League group fixtures and the semi-finalists have been announced. UEFA have not forgotten about the European Championships, and how could they? The 16th edition was supposed to usher in a new direction for the games. However, it's understandable that they postponed it. It was a logistical nightmare to organise them. Like the competitions before it, Euro 2020 was not being hosted by a single UEFA partner country, but there were 12 host cities. UEFA were truly going for broke to mark its 60th birthday. It was being staged across Europe and would bring forward the different aspects of European football. Moreover, the tournament had a more level playing field. There were no automatic qualifications as there were no host nations. Everyone had to strive in the qualification fixtures to book their seats. It made the group games knockout fixtures where teams had to win at all costs. Not that it dented the chances of any top teams. The bigwigs qualified and the hottest players on the continent would be suiting up for their countries of allegiance. The first kick of the ball was supposed to take place on June 12, 2020. That became impossible given the raging COVID-19 pandemic. Players were training in isolation since March, and there was no guarantee when football would resume. It was only justifiable that the games were postponed. It meant that alongside Romans, the residents of Amsterdam, Baku, Bilbao, Bucharest, Budapest, Copenhagen, Dublin, Glasgow, London, Munich and St. Petersburg had to wait some more. It's worth mentioning here that while the group games would be played in stadiums across these 12 cities, the honour of hosting the semi-finals and finals of this month-long footballing extravaganza was bestowed upon London, the historic Wembley Stadium getting the nod. This decision was made in lieu of the fact that the stadium had the largest capacity out of all the stadiums in the competition. The decision to host the competition across 12 different cities came in 2012, as Europe was still reeling from the after effects of the 2008 financial crisis. The burden of hosting the competition couldn't be pushed on a single entity, and the notion of different countries coming together to host this festival of football was a romantic one to say the least. Moreover, it made economic sense as the competition was expanding. There will not be 16 but 24 teams participating in the competition. This meant that the number of matches drastically increased from 31 to 51. To host the competition across Europe allowed getting everyone involved and keeping interest in the competition high as the title of European champions went up for grabs. These decisions were taken back as far as 2010, and in the backdrop of everything that's happened in 2020, gave a very sound foundation for the event. Had the competition been held in a single country, the public services would have come under serious pressure and led to the capitulation of the end. In the current scenario, the event can be manoeuvred around and it won't cause a logistical nightmare. The original schedule of the competition was supposed to begin on the 12th of June 2020 and come to a conclusion on the 12th of July. This is no longer the case. The competition has gone forward by a year minus a day. It will now commence on the 11th of June 2021 and its proceedings will culminate on the 11th of July. The champions will now have the second shortest reign, coming behind USSR, now Russia. The Soviets won the inaugural competition when it was supposed to be a biannual competition. Incidentally, it also makes Portugal and Cristiano Ronaldo the longest holders of the Henri Delaunay Trophy. Yes, we know Spain kept it for 8 years, but it was across 2 editions, but not 1. So, let's begin our rhetoric on the UEFA Euros 2020, name retained at the behest of marketing moguls, associated and communication teams at the governing body. Portugal have their work cut out for themselves as they look to retain their trophy. Ronaldo still possesses that lethal touch, and they can also rely on the services of Bruno Hernandez in the first UEFA European Championship that can call upon the services of the Video Assistant Referee System, VAR. It doesn't seem to be that difficult of a task. They have competition from 18 of the teams that they overcame in the previous competition. Belgium and Italy entered the competition with flawless records in the qualifying stages. The last edition's beaten finalists and current world champions, France, are also in the mix. So are Germany, who qualified for a record 13th successive time. Denmark and the Netherlands return after missing out last time. They're joined by Finland and North Macedonia, who will make their debut in the competition. Scotland returns to the foray of international competitions, last playing in a FIFA competition in 1998 and in the European Championship 2 years prior. The rest of the playing rosters will be made up of Austria, Hungary, Slovakia, Wales, Greece, Russia, Poland, Ukraine, Spain, Turkey, England, Czech Republic, Sweden, Croatia, and Switzerland. Given the names involved and the strengths of squads at hand, it's going to be an exciting month. While some of the groups might seem to have clear-cut qualifiers from it, it could not be further from the truth. There are some hard battles out there, and teams of prior pedigree will have to slug it out. Surely, there are some groups that have easy teams, but when have there been easy teams in an international competition? Germany came to realise this in the last World Cup, Spain in the edition before. Do we even have to remind you of France and South Africa? You can never count out the opposition, and it will be folly to do this in next year's competition. Group A with Italy, Turkey, Wales and Switzerland epitomises this. Roberto Mancini and Italy gatecrashed the Netherlands' bid for Nations League glory by a point. They've been a team reformed and are looking tougher by the fixture. However, with injuries creeping up and Andrea Bellotti finding it difficult to lead their lines, they're still coming together. They can have their lights punched out by any of the 3 teams vying for progress to the knockout rounds. Turkey and their new generation of exciting talent look like they can cause an upset. Gareth Bale is again shining in Tottenham colours and can change the fate of a fixture all on his own. The Italians can't forget his humbling of the San Siro. Xherdan Shaqiri might not be playing regularly for Liverpool, but with Granit Xhaka and Haris Seferovic, they have enough in the tank to challenge anybody. A similar case can be made for Group B. Belgium are ranked number 1 by FIFA, but the manager has a conundrum on his hands. He has the most exciting lot of Red Devil superstars on his hands, but nothing to show for it. Eden Hazard's youth seems to have been lost, and after a poor year in La Liga, continues to struggle. Romelu Lukaku has yet to take a breather ever since he exchanged England for Italy. The same can be said about Kevin De Bruyne. Finland might not put up much of a fight, but Russia and Denmark will. And even if the top spot is conceded to Belgium, the fight for second place will be tough. Believe it or not, it will be the Finnish side that will decide who goes ahead and who stays back. The Netherlands are the big team in Group C, if it is a name that will decide who progresses and who doesn't, but the Dutch are returning to the competition after losing out on qualifying the last time around. Moreover, Ronald Koeman's defection to Barcelona is going to hurt them as they struggle to find their bearings under Frank de Boer. Ukraine, under the tutelage of Andrei Shevchenko, are a team to be wary of. They've shown that they can bounce from tricky situations and have a steely resolve that's hidden by their European coefficients. Julian Baumgartlinger and Franco Foda might also have plans with the Austrian national team. The boys are steadily improving their ranks and secured promotion to UEFA Nations League Division A. North Macedonia are the only underdogs, given their recent form has not been of much success, and they even lost a promotion to Nations League B. Now we're entering the scary bunch. FIFA 2018's semi-finalists and finalists are in the picture. England and Croatia have been on the losing run recently, but it doesn't mean that they don't have the quality to top the table. Both Croatia and England came in third in their respective Nations League groups. Southgate's side were humbled by Belgium and Denmark, while Luka Modric and company were put to the sword by France, Switzerland and Portugal. With the combatant Scots and Czech Republic coming for their jugular, it will make for enticing viewing. Out of all the groups, Group E have to have a clear-cut qualifier in Spain. Spain aren't the same side that was vanquishing everyone who lay in their path a decade ago, but they are a side that just recently demolished Germany 6-0. They're also a side led by a vengeful Luis Enrique and are a force to be reckoned with. Sweden, Poland and Slovakia will have a tough battle on their hands for second place. It's the Polish side who have the better odds of making it out, with Robert Lewandowski and Arkadiusz Milik to rely upon. And if there was ever a group of death, Group F has to be it. Portugal, France and Germany are all clubbed together. It makes one feel sorry for the Hungarians who have to battle it out with them and, in the end, might only be there to make up the numbers. France and Portugal have had duels recently in the Nations League and it's been Les Bleus who've triumphed. Cristiano Ronaldo's untimely absence due to COVID-19 complications made matters worse, but Portugal were second best nonetheless. On the other hand, Germany are not the force it used to be. With the best coaches to call upon, Joachim Löw's men seem devoid of ideas and unable to match the best. Come June, they will have to shoulder up their resolve and give their best, else it's going to be ignominy in history books for them. With so much turmoil in world football and players having to slug it out in the frantic match schedule, Euro 2020 will be a spectacle to behold. Hopefully, the vaccine will allow fans to throng the stadiums and we'll have bustling environments again. But even if that's not possible, the host cities and the footballing extravaganza will make up for it.